don't know about you, but I'm getting extremely annoyed with Trump saying he has no connection to Project 2025, and then just his delusional fan base being just parroting that. Like, do you know how to Google anything? So, let's start with, I don't know, this might even turn into a series. That's part one. In the document posted by Project 2025 of the Heritage Foundation, the document is titled Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise. Not the liberal promise, the conservative promise. Okay, on page 6 of this document, under the contents, we see section 1, Taking the Reins of Government, begins on page 19. And the first part of that is regarding the White House office. That starts on page 23, and it's written by a Mr. Rick Dearborn. Who the hell is Rick? Let's read what the Heritage Foundation has to say about Ricky here. He was a distinguished visiting fellow for the 2025 Presidential Transition Project. He was a former White House Deputy Chief of Staff to President Donald Trump, returned to the Heritage Foundation as a distinguished visiting fellow to support Project 2025, an initiative to prepare the next presidential administration. Additionally, on the Trump White House Archives page, it announced on June 20, 2018, that President Donald J. Trump announced his intent to nominate personnel to key administrative posts. Rick A. Dearborn of Oklahoma to be a member of the Amtrak Board of Directors for a term of 5 years. Mr. Dearborn served as a Deputy Chief of Staff for President Trump from January 2017 to March 2018. And was the executive director of the Presidential Transition Team following President Trump's election. Well, isn't that interesting? He served as the executive director of the Presidential Transition Team for President Trump in 2016 when he got elected, and is now a distinguished visiting fellow for the 2025 Presidential Transition Project for the Heritage Foundation. Meaning they're preparing the next presidential administration. Additionally, on this file, on January 17, 2018, Rick Dearborn, President Donald Trump's White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Legislative Affairs, meaning lawmaking, walks on Capitol Hill in Washington, where he is being interviewed by the House Intelligence Committee regarding the Russia probe. The White House has instructed Dearborn, and another former aide to President Donald Trump, not to appear at a House Judiciary Committee hearing Tuesday, September 17, 2019, saying Dearborn and Rob Porter are absolutely immune from testifying at what panel is calling its first impeachment hearing. And this was published September 16, 2019, by AP News. This was, of course, after they had been issued subpoenas for the special counsel Mueller's report. Now, interestingly, prior to that, in 2018, there was an executive session by the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., in which he was interviewed, where he testified to being paid $26,000 by the Trump campaign to work for his campaign. Up here, he says, so our policy team, tried to help the RNC's team on platform, and then I also helped out at the Rules Committee, but my interaction with Mr. Manafort, the campaign at the convention, was very limited. He was kind of running the convention, and I was on a different level, kind of running around trying to help out. So you worked on policy? What kind of policies? Like how to take away a woman's right to her bodily autonomy? Well, it appears you were successful in that. The Heritage Foundation clearly chose you for a reason. He also testified to helping put together a policy team. So to sum it up, first he worked for Donald Trump's election campaign, then served as the executive director of President Trump's transition team, where he helped put together the policy team for what all they were going to accomplish during President Trump's first term in office. He did such a good job getting his policies enforced under Trump's first administration that the Heritage Foundation named him a distinguished visiting fellow for the 2025 Presidential Transition Project, where he will help prepare for the next presidential administration. Yeah, okay, Donald Trump has no idea who he is, right? Or what Heritage Foundation or Project 2025 is, right? Is that what we're going with? Can I also just add, we're literally on just page 1 with the first person. Now let's go to Project 2025's mandate and see what little Ricky has to say. As with most positions that will be covered in the first chapter, the Chief of Staff is also an assistant to the President. However, the Chief is truly first among equals. Ricky, you little dog, you. Ricky goes on to discuss the Special White House Counsel, where subordinates should be deeply committed to the President's agenda and see their role as helping to accomplish the agenda through problem-solving and advocacy. They should not erect roadblocks out of an abundance of caution. Rather, they should offer practical legal advice on how to promote the President's agenda within the bounds of the law. I don't know about you, but that last part kind of gave me the vibes of laws. Where we're going, we don't need any laws vibes. I don't know, how about you? He goes on to say, the Office of the White House Counsel also serves as the primary gateway for communication between the White House and Department of Justice. Traditionally, both the White House Counsel and the Attorney General have issued a memo requiring all contact between the two institutions to occur only between the Office of the White House Counsel and the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General. Yeah, that's a good idea. The next administration should re-examine this policy and determine whether it might be more efficient or more appropriate for communication to occur through additional channels. Boy, that sounds sketch as hell. Well, what else does he have to say? The White House counsel must get up to speed as quickly as possible on all significant ongoing legal challenges across the executive branch that might affect the new administration's policy agenda and must be prepared at the outset of the administration to present recommendations to the president, including recommendations for reconsidering or reversing positions of the previous administration in any significant litigation. Okay, what else? The new administration should re-examine the nature of the relationship between itself and the White House Correspondents Association and consider whether an alternative coordinating body might be more suitable. Congressional leaders receive one unified message. If other actors within the White House maintain their own relationships with congressional leaders and staffers, it may appear the president's agenda is fractured and lacks consensus. So no longer able to have difference of opinions. We love Trump. Trump should be president forever. Okay, yeah, so anyway, this is part one. Miss me with that shit if you think that he doesn't know what this project is.